Welcome back to the dead ball area. Bernard Foleys has come in for a lot of criticism after his kicking display against Argentina. Taking the glass half full approach, 5 out of 9 attempts doesn't feel like the worst stat ever. But it does suggest there is perhaps some justification in the criticism, and looking at the kicks individually showed that there was a fair amount of erraticness. Top flight goal kicking is all about being able to maintain consistency, and that's something that was lacking in Foleys' performance. So we're going to have a quick look at his goal kicking against Argentina, and we'll start by breaking down Foleys' kicking process into 4 stages: alignment, visualisation, approach, and then the strike where he hits the ball. Like a lot of good goal kickers, Foley sets the seam of the ball in the middle, using it as a guideline to plot the foot's path through the ball and then the trajectory the ball will take once it's left the foot. Laying it this flat reduces the contact area, which in return reduces the room for error, but it also means all the power of the kick is localised to a small area, and as such it travels through the middle of the ball in a direct line. This means the ball should fly truer for longer. He also sets it very high for an instep kicker. As we can see here, his foot could almost slide underneath the ball, meaning the need for accuracy at the contact is paramount, but this is all quite standard. Foley also has a relatively short and neat visualisation process. Here we can see him focusing on where he will strike the ball before he comes up to check the flight path, plotting it from the apex of the kick backwards to the contact area of the ball, which leads us into the approach of his kick. First we have this activation process, which facilitates going from static to moving. This is where he takes the backward step, allowing his muscles to relax and begin moving in a manner that helps his approach to the ball, which consists of this big step forward and then the acceleration process, which is these 2 fast steps ending in the leg swinging into the strike. As we can see here, when he strikes the ball, Foley uses his instep, keeping his lower leg very rigid until the ball has left his foot. This results in his soccer-like chip kick. He also has very little follow-through, which is not that unusual for an around-the-corner kicker, and he keeps his head down until the ball has left the foot, finishing with his shoulders square to where the ball is travelling. It's all pretty simple and all pretty standard. So now with that in mind, let's look at some of the kicks and see what's happening. We'll start with what I felt was his best kick of the night, a penalty at around the 39-minute mark, and we use that as a reference point. We can see him plotting the flight of the path back to his striking point. And as highlighted before, he takes a step backwards, approaches and takes these 2 quick steps before planting his foot and swinging through the ball. If we watch the flight of the ball, we can see that even as it clears the post, it's spinning end over end, maintaining a relatively straight trajectory. And for me, that's an important tell, as we'll hopefully see later on. If we go back to the first penalty kick of the night, we can see him follow the same process. But when he strikes the ball, although it sets off on its end over end trajectory, earlier in the kick we can see it flatten out and the ball starts to spin through a diagonal axis with the bottom leaning in and the ball spinning off to the right in a slice. So we know straight away he's come underneath the ball and the strike has gone through the point at an angle from right to left, pushing the bottom of the ball to the left, causing the ball trajectory to spin off to the right, creating that slice. If we stop the video here, we can see that his kicking leg has come a lot further around than usual, and I think the reason he's done that is his supporting foot is further forward, and as such his foot has come through more than it would normally. On this next kick we can see the same process occur, but this time he tops the kick, it clearing the bar despite it being all over the shop. This time I think his supporting foot is too far back, so he's coming up over the top of the ball rather than lifting it off the tee. On this next kick at 69 minutes, if we look through the actual strike, we can see the ball is leaving Foley's foot very late. So in essence he's pulling in and under the ball, making it spin. Luckily on this occasion it works in his favour, and even though it's a dog of a kick, it swings back in and around. But again, note how it bends around to the right. So we're definitely seeing inconsistency in how he strikes the ball. I think a lot of that is caused by where his supporting leg is in relation to the ball, and as such he's losing efficiency in his strike. This time we can again see a nice clean strike, and the ball maintains its end over end trajectory right the way through. On this kick, even though it's a miss, we can see that he gets a good strike and the ball keeps a reasonably true flight path, meaning it's most likely a simple alignment issue. On both those kicks we can see his striking foot just lifts the ball off the tee rather than drives through it. At this point I think it's worth noting, but it's very hard to pick up genuine long-term issues in a kicker's technique using in-game footage. Really, we want low profile shots on different angles so we can do comparatives, but from what we can see I think the biggest variable seems to be where his kicking foot is landing in relation to the ball, and the knock-on effect it's having on his timing and the angle he's striking the ball at. There could be a number of reasons this is crept in. Like golfers, kickers develop the yips. Foley may be working through some adjustments to his technique, and it's not unusual for a kicker to lose his shape when bringing small tweaks into his routine. One of the key reasons he's in the Wallaby squad though is his goal kicking. And its key here is how he reacts to the on-off nature of his last kicking performance, and whether or not he can regain the consistency in his timing. Now I'm a fan of Foley and I think he'll be able to do it, but the real question is whether or not he can do it in time for the World Cup. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.